On today's show, we honor Kingston Veterans, hear original poetry, what's happening in our South Shore towns, and talk with the Plymouth Trash Lady. We're glad you're here. Let's get started. Anything dirty or dingy or dusty, ragged or rotten or rusty. Do we all love trash? We must. We just keep on making more. We went on the local scene to talk with the Plymouth Trash Lady, who also goes by the name Nicole Young.
Hello, I am Nicole Young, and I am known as the Plymouth Trash Lady. How I became the Plymouth Trash Lady was through seeing my children's reactions to finding some dead birds on our beach. Our little end of our road, we have a small beach, and 3 out of 4 birds that we found, they were poking with sticks, because boys will be boys, and they found plastic tape in their necks. And at that time, my Danny was 6 years old. He's now very active in helping me clean up. His name is Kid Danny. He's very proud of that. But at the time, it was almost a new thing that he didn't realize would happen. Animals are dying from plastic. And so I said, let's do something about it. Let's make sure our beach stays clean so this doesn't happen again. So we started cleaning our beach every day. And then we maintained that so there's no more trash coming up. Then we started going to Long Beach. And then we started going to Whitehorse Beach. And then we started going all the way to Sandwich. And then we started going to Duxbury. And then we realized that our cleaning up every day was making a difference. And we were actually seeing an impact on the beach, that it was cleaner and that waves weren't throwing up as much because we were maintaining it. It started by setting an example to my boys and having them involved in it. My 3 boys have autism. I myself have autism. We are an autistic family. With that comes challenges and a lot of stress. That's 24 hours a day. To take a break, I love my family more than anything, but I need a break from them once in a while for my own sanity. And so I was doing this with my children, and then when they didn't want to do it, I started doing it by myself, and I found that going to the beach and picking up trash shuts off everything in your head. Because you start doing a treasure hunt. And you start picking this up, and then you find weird stuff, and you're wondering, how on earth did this make it to the beach? And that shuts off all the stress in your life, and the autism struggle, and everything that's emotional. And I have those hours on the beach doing mental health. That's why I do it. So it's not even a job for me, it makes me sane.
I just want to pull this out. See how this is literally wrapped around? Look at it. Look how far in it goes. You literally have to dig bags out of the ground. That's how long we've been here for.
Nip bottles and nip bottles, layers and layers of seasons of nip bottles. You go down State Road, you go into the tree line a little bit. You don't just find one layer of it. You find the first layer on top, then you have leaves. Then you have last season's layer, and then you have leaves. And then you have 2 seasons ago layer. We're talking about plastic up the wazoo. Not as much plastic bags since the ban. Since the ban of plastic bags in Plymouth happened, there's not as many of those, but the cups, the nips, underwear, socks are just as common. It's very bizarre.
Somebody had a hard night, and they were flopping in the breeze this morning without their whistle. Anyways, have a good day.
Definitely social media. If it wasn't for that, then this message I wouldn't be here. Like, who would be interested in trash pickup? So trying to make that funny and entertaining to people, I'm surprised people are watching, but I'm so happy about it because that's the only way you can spread the word far enough to make a difference these days. And it's a blessing in disguise, it really is. I love how much Plymouth has come together and grown it more as a community since sharing these stories. They have welcomed them, they want to hear more, and more people want to get involved and help, and that is huge. And Plymouth is such an amazing community in itself. They've come far and beyond, like, I'm very proud of them. I see people picking up on a regular basis now. I used to not see people on the beach with their own little bags, you know, making it a daily thing. And now I see that more and more. We need to bring back the word litterbug. I remember being a young child and in elementary school, don't be a litterbug, pick up, don't be a litterbug. My children never heard that before. So my legacy is let's bring that back. Let's bring the respect of our environment back and the awareness that every single person, starting as a child, should be aware of how they can help. And it only takes a little bit of effort to make a big difference. I want the Plymouth Trash Lady to be the start of our country coming together as a community to do this, not just Plymouth. Our country started in Plymouth as America's hometown. We had hopes and dreams and a lot of willpower to make it, and we did. Now, I want to go back to respecting what we started with and it becoming a contagious hobby, honestly, that everybody, instead of looking at, you know, the beach from shells and sea glass, maybe picking up trash is a common thing too, and everybody can do their part, not just in Plymouth, but in surrounding towns and the rest of the country. It just starts here.
The circus is coming to town. On February 23rd, the Spire Center welcomes New York band the Slambovian Circus of Dreams. Once referred to as the Hillbilly Pink Floyd, the Slambovian Circus of Dreams elevates live performances, connecting deeply with their audiences through spiritual rhythms, mesmerizing musicianship, and a singer whose vocals have been described as soothing and as bewitching as snake oil.
Our bodies like Chevys, they are stronger than steel. Storms break the levees, truths are revealed. What should we save now? What should be healed? We gotta step out.
The band's trippy folk rock is colored by a rootsy blend of Americana and Woodstock-tinged psychedelia. Their latest studio release, A Very Unusual Head, features the Waterboys Anthony Thistlethwaite and singer-songwriter Dar Williams. Doors open at 7 p.m. and the music plays at 8. To purchase tickets, visit spirecenter.org. Recognizing and honoring our veterans allows continued generations to gain a small glimpse into the sacrifices these men and women have made to serve the United States. We went on the local scene to Kingston.
I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1959 to 1963. I was attached to the 4th Marine Brigade for 2 years.
I was a graduate of the ROTC program from my college, and I ended up coming on board the military at the very end of the Vietnam era, and they had little or no need for more second lieutenants to fill in, and as such they offered me the opportunity, or actually told me that I would be better off serving in the reserves. So I did 8 years of reserve in the Chicago area.
In the Army, I was 1st Battalion, 72nd Armor. That was a tank unit, and I served in Korea. So I was there for about a year and a half. Came back to the United States and got involved with veterans' interests, and moved towards the beginning of this committee.
The veterans group approached the Board of Selectmen looking for a spot. They spent a tremendous amount of time looking at other areas in other communities that have the same type of spot, and ultimately chose in front of the townhouse. I think it's going to just really add to the townhouse and provide people the ability to come here either for a ceremony or just to come in and reflect if they want to do that.
But this is a place where people will center, where they'll come to sit and talk with friends. Bring the children for a playground for a half hour, you know. I think it'll be a very public place. And the line underneath it all for everything we do is veterans, which has started the monument in front that we're all going to be proud of, I think, when it happens.
And we're trying to make it educational too, for the kids to come from the schools and come down. And also what we want to do is tell them about the great town of Kingston, how they backed us, and add more to it, like a display
One of the other parts about the memorial is that we plan to have a QR code on the side of the memorial. And in that, we'll give a key to all the historic sites that are military and war-related or military-related in the Kingston area, and allow people to go and learn more about it. I'd like to thank the people of Kingston for giving us the funding to get this project started, and to State Representative Kathleen Lenatra for listening to us badger her at the previous memorial or veterans luncheon to, tell her that the East Long Meadow had done it, so please help us.
This commission or this committee worked tirelessly, and there's so many hands in this project, and it's going to be amazing.
Oh, it means an awful lot. I just can't explain it in words, but to see what we've seen this morning of all the veterans coming here was a great joy to me.
It's a giant step forward, as I said. People wonder about the veterans. They all know one. Their grandfather, somebody was a veteran, and don't know what to do with that. Don't know what questions to ask. They never do. And people here will learn about veteran activities and meet with other people, veterans, by wearing a shirt and a hat, as I am, and make it personal rather than some abstract idea.
Well, certainly, recognizing the veterans of this community and what they've done to allow us to live the lives we're able to live now, it's important to recognize that and never forget it. As you get a little bit older, you begin to really appreciate some of the true sacrifices that have been made by our veterans, and this helps galvanize it, I believe.
The veterans are God and country. Let me tell you, I love being in this country. It's the land of the free, and what can I say? I love it. I love this country.
From the folk music revival beginning in the late 1940s to singer-songwriter Joni Mitchell's emergence in the 1960s, the lyrics of American folk are the most essential element of the art form, conveying messages that mobilize communities, inspire change, and document the struggles of everyday life. Spend 2 winter Wednesday afternoons listening to beautiful music pieces and the words that go with them, focusing on lyrics in a 2-part virtual program hosted by poet Roz Kubek. Focus on Lyrics, From Folk Revival to Joni, takes place on February 21st and 28th from 3:30 to 5 p.m. via Zoom through the Pembroke Public Library. Old friends and new are welcome. No poetry or writing experience necessary. Register for the Zoom link via the library website. The Cape Cod Collaborative Arts Network, or Cape Cod CAN, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating opportunities for inclusion and active participation in the arts for people with disabilities. The therapeutic and joyful nature of reading and writing poetry is the basis of their upcoming 4-session online course, Writing Outside the Lines, Poetry as Therapy, Joy, and Renewal. The class promises to nurture an appreciation of poetry, improve reading comprehension, and build creative confidence. Plymouth's Poet Laureate Stephen Delbos will lead the group in using poetry as a way to reflect on personal experiences and how to weave words into art on the page. The first session begins on February 21st and continues via Zoom every Wednesday through March 13th from 5 to 6:30 p.m. Register via the Cape Cod CAN section online at artsonthecape.org. Nothing makes an hour happier than to tip the glass with fellow rainbow flag flying friends. Coming up on February 21st is Beers with Queers, a monthly LGBTQIA happy hour hosted by Plymouth Pride. This fun gathering is held every 3rd Wednesday of the month at the Speedwell Tavern from 6 to 8 p.m. Come get a tasty beverage and spill the Long Island iced tea with a fabulous group of folks. Speedwell Tavern is located at 47 Main Street in Plymouth. For more info and to find out about other Plymouth Pride events celebrating the diversity and unity within our community, go to PlymouthPrideInc.com. Here's what's news from the Duxbury Free Library.
Celebrate the start of the Year of the Dragon with multiple events in February at the Duxbury Free Library and the Duxbury Senior Center. The Duxbury Free Library will host a Lunar New Year storytime for kids and their families on Saturday, February 9th at 10:30 a.m. The Duxbury Senior Center will host a presentation for adults about the history and culture of Lunar New Year on Thursday, February 8th at 11 a.m. The Duxbury Senior Center will host a Lunar New Year dance performance for kids and their families on Friday, February 9th at 11 a.m. For more information about all of these programs, please visit our website, duxburyfreelibrary.org.
Imagine hitting the snooze button for a whole season. If you're a bat, woodchuck, or chipmunk in New England, you'll spend 4 months out of the year in a deep sleep. On February 23rd at 2 p.m., kids aged 5 and up are invited to the Plymouth Public Library for the free program Winter Hibernation with Hands-on Nature. Learn about hibernation, migration, and the adaptations that allow your favorite animals to survive the coldest months and make it through to springtime. Bring a small stuffed animal and create a cozy hibernation den to bring home with you. Learn more and register at the Plymouth Public Library website. Turkey salad is on the menu in this month's Delicious and Nutritious with Chef Jerry Levine.
And today we are going to do leftover turkey green salad. Now, where do we get leftover turkey? Every Thanksgiving we always have a leftover turkey. So what I've done is I'm going to take the leftover turkey, and I'm using turkey breasts, which I have grilled just a little bit after I slice the turkey breast. It's just to give it a little bit of color. You'll notice that we have a slight amount of color here, and that also, that caramelization makes it taste really good. It's dynamite. So what do we have here? Okay, we've got Spanish onion right here. We've got romaine lettuce. We have these lovely cherry tomatoes, which I've cut in half. Right here we have baby arugula, which is really dynamite. So we've got the baby arugula, and we have the romaine, and I'm showing this to you so you can see what they all look like. English cucumbers, one of my favorite. They have a unique flavor, and they are dynamite. Okay, right here we have our turkey breast, which I had sliced, and then I did a slight saute with them just to give it a little bit of color. And you can see the color here, and the color looks nice, and it also brings up the flavor. Now, what is this? Well, this is a little bit unusual, but these are cranberries, and the cranberries have been taken and they have been put in a Cuisinart because I wanted to grind them. So you've got little chunks of cranberries right now, and they are raw. They have not been cooked, and I'm going to put that into the salad also. So let's do that. Okay, it's in the salad, and we'll get my hands nice and dirty with cranberries. Now look at that. Look at the colors here now. We're getting better. Okay, finally, chickpeas, canned chickpeas. They're a wonderful thing. They're very versatile, and they are also very nutritious. So what do we do with that? Well, let's sprinkle it around here, and we'll sprinkle it all over here and sprinkle it over there. And look at this. It looks good. Well, but it's a raw salad. It does not have any dressing. So we need to put some dressing in it. We'll take my dressing container, which happens to be a jelly jar. So I save these little guys, and of course it doesn't smell like anything, but because I have not put anything in it. Now, olive oil, we're going to use 2 parts. That's 1. And we're heading for the second one right now. This is a nice cooking olive oil that I tend to like. And one of my favorite vinegars, balsamic. The vinegars that I tend to use most of all are either balsamic, from Italian balsamic, or rice vinegar, rice wine vinegar. I like the flavor, I like the mouthfeel, so we're going to shoot some of this stuff in here. And we're going to toss it in there like that. We need a little bit more. So, and there we go. Now, what else do we need? Kosher salt. So we'll toss in about a teaspoon. Fresh ground black pepper. Put that in there. And now we mix it. And I like to emulsify it. Now, the question is could I put an emulsifier in here? I certainly could. What is the emulsifier that I tend to use? It's usually a Dijon mustard. But I really didn't feel like doing that today because I wanted it to, as it is here. Oh, that's dynamite. So we're going to put it around here like this. Going to save a little just for finishing, and then we're going to mix. And we're going to mix some more. Look at the colors here, guys. This is what is making this thing. The reds, the different shades of green, the whiteness or the light tan of the chickpeas. And see how it's spreading, and we're getting a really nice dose of the vinaigrette on here, so it looks kind of good. And we're just going to mix it just a wee bit more, and then we're going to plate it. And we are going to enjoy this. And it's really good to be able to reuse your turkey leftovers. And one of my favorite part of the turkey actually is the drumstick. And I'm a dark meat type person, so I really like that. But we're going to just finish it with a tiny bit more on the top. And we're going to put this guy away. Okay. Okay, I have just added the turkey, our leftover turkey, of course, and now I am in the process of mixing it. Look at the colors that we have here. They're magnificent. And, you know, the turkey looks good, and I guarantee that this is going to be something that you will totally enjoy because I'm looking forward to enjoying it myself in a little while. And that is our turkey in with our green salad, and we have it there, and we plate it, and it's nice. And look at how it plated. It plated lovely. You've got your turkey. Cranberries do for this because there's going to be a slight amount of tartness, but this is going to be dynamite. Okay.
If spending a Science Saturday learning about birds piques your interest, visit the Duxbury Free Library on February 17th to learn about the unique ways that birds eat. Bird Beaks and Eats is a program exploring the evolution of bird beaks. Whether the meal of choice for these pecky eaters is fish, seeds, or the nectar of flowers, there's a beak for that. This event runs from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. and is ideal for children up to age 5. Registration is required for this children's room event, so be sure to fly to the Duxbury Library website and get your spot. The beloved Magic Treehouse series has brought the time-traveling adventures of Jack and Annie to early readers for over 25 years and counting. And the Plymouth Public Library thinks it's time to celebrate with a party. On February 22nd at 3 p.m., children of all ages are invited for Magic Treehouse-themed crafts and activities. Feel free to come dressed up as your favorite character. Register via the library's website. Here's poet Miriam O'Neill in a reading of her original work.
let's introduce our first reader, and that is Miriam O'Neill. Please welcome her.
Hi. The wonderful thing about this place, about Books and Sundry and poetry, is it's like a mutual admiration society. Everybody supports everybody here. So if you haven't read here before and this is your first time, you're in a really good place to do it. I'm going to read a few poems from books I've published, and then I'm going to read a brand new poem, brand spanking new. But first I want to read two poems from this book. We start with What We're Given, and they are poems in which I imagine that I've taken lessons in painting, and because I love Elizabeth Bishop, who was a poet but was also a painter. So this is lesson number 2, on time and desire. In a house on the bluff, a dog's shut in and barking. We can hear him from the beach, between the waves breaking. He thinks he's been left too long. Come back, he repeats, as if his bark will conjure the key in the lock. We can hear his yearning. Then the barking stops, which is not the same as ends. It's just the dog has no fixed calculus for how to get what's wanted. When he remembers his need, he'll start again. He'll ask and ask and ask. And as I was looking at Elizabeth Bishop's artwork, I have a collection of a book of her collected artwork reproduced. I noticed how she dealt with distance, and I thought about the few lessons I ever took, art lessons I ever took, and how distance was determined or created on the page. This is lesson number 3, distance. A white-necked magpie floats overhead. One sense of distance can be achieved by 2 lines drawn diagonally. If, as they move across the page, the space between them diminishes to a thread. This will lead the eye deep into the field, or to the stone walls that frame the groves, or the green shadows where now the magpie mutters like a priest in his confessional. Who does not need forgiveness? The instructor demonstrates how horizontal lines drawn parallel define what's near and what the eye might imagine by bending light. Here, the threshold of my door, there, east of everything, the Adriatic, where an orange smear signals morning. The bream and mackerel boats heading out, their engines putter, blessing the hammered silver day. I follow as she explains how each vertical construction infers sky, raised cross, soaring bird. Any form that climbs above mid-page will raise the eye. The priest bird overhead, clouds above him, empty space filling in around his long, slow glide. I want to see what the bird sees, to float on wood and taffeta, like the locksmith of Sabel. But I'm anchored here, midlife, mid-page. Tomorrow, wind. I should tell you that the locksmith of Sabel was a real person who took it upon himself to design wings made of wood and taffeta and tried to fly. He was the first European to fly. Real person as opposed to Icarus and his father. So you always learn something. Poetry has a lot to give you. So I'm going to read one more poem. William Carlos Williams went through, everybody knows I Ate the Plums. This is just to say I Ate the Plums, but there are so many other William Carlos Williams poems. And he had a very difficult last part of his life. And he wrote a very dark poem called Asphodel, that greeny flower, which was a confession to his wife about broken promises. And if you know about Italian cheeses, burrata. Has anybody heard of burrata? Oh, burrata. Anyway, traditionally, it's wrapped in asphodel leaves. And there's something about the promise in that little pocket. The man at the deli counter in Santa Franca shakes his head, no, when I ask for burrata wrapped in asphodel. I can tell he's sorry he can't say yes. He knows that I know what he's being asked. For that soft sack of mozzarella full of creamy curds, strapped and knotted with thin green leaves that smell of spring. Forse a lunedì, ti fermi a lungo, he asks, and now it's my turn to show sadness. Solo sabato. Then, as if in apology, he wraps a slab of salty and firm ricotta solata for me to crumble on my fresh greens. His fingers touching mine as he passes his consolation prize across the counter. His thick brows and mustache twitch as he smiles his sorrow. Mi dispiace. And I smile back. Non fa niente. La promessa volta, I respond, which sounds like I am making a promise to return, which is the promise I would like to make. Thank you.
In the bottom of an old leather trunk, Alexander Brash discovered the forgotten manuscript of his great-great-grandfather, Robert Armstrong. Robert's autobiographical accounts of a decade of thrilling whaling adventures throughout the world of the mid-1800s became the foundation for Whaler at Twilight, a nonfiction release containing Robert's journals and bookended by his great-great-grandson's research contextual background. In this book, noted conservationist Alexander Brash supplements his ancestors' adventures with informed commentary on the impact of whaling and the importance of marine conservation in today's world. Join the author at the Adams Center in Kingston on February 20th for a 1-hour author talk on this book and fascinating subject. This event runs from 6 to 7 p.m. Visit the Kingston Public Library website to register. And that, my friends, wraps what's good and good to know this week on the local scene. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. For more of what's good and good to know on the South Shore of Massachusetts, hit the subscribe button. And thank you for watching.